Okay, this is examples, 4 examples, maybe I do 6, 4 examples, how to read from graph the domain and the range. When we're talking about domains, we're talking about something that we were doing before with equations and inequalities, right? What are the limits in the left side and limits in the right side? But here, because we have two variables now, x and y, we are going to try to locate not only the limits in the left side for x and in the right side for x, as well up to y and down to y. What are the limits? For example, in this graph, what is the limits in the left side? Well, the limits in the left side is an arrow here, so it's no limit, so it's negative infinite. What is the limit to the right side in x? Well, it's a arrow, so it's no limit, so it's negative infinite and positive infinite. That means all the real numbers, or R with double bar. What are the limits in y? Well, on the bottom, it's going to be limits in -2. So you can see it, -2. So from the bottom, from -2, go up with no limit and up with no limit. So I'm going to say all the numbers greater than or equal -2. And that is true. The limits are from -2 to infinite. Okay? Now this one. This one is no infinite at all because there's no arrows in any part of this circle. So in x, or domain, what I did, give me a second, guys. All right. Okay, from x, in the left side, it's going to be -1, -2, -3, -3. And in the right side, the limit is in 0, 1, 2, 3, so 3. In the middle is x, and less than or equal, and you are identified the limits for the domain. What are the limits for the range or y? You write down y here, then less than or equal. On the bottom, it's going to be -1, -2, -3, so -3. And on the top, it's going to be 1, 2, and 3, so 3. And there are the domain and the range with the limits of this graph, the circle, of this circle, you know? Now, this one is a line. So domain, well, I can see it's an arrow to the left. Okay, so it's negative infinite. It's an arrow to the right, positive infinite. So it's all the real numbers. All the real numbers, look, are. Range, okay, is going up with arrow, so it's to positive infinite, and go down to with arrow, so it's negative infinite. So all the real numbers. Normally the straight lines, the domain are all real numbers. Normally, it's some exceptions when it's vertical and when it's horizontal, and the range all the real numbers. But if this line is diagonal in some way, always the answer is the domain and range is going to be all the real numbers. If it's vertical or horizontal, we have some exceptions there, okay? Now, this one. To the left, domain. Where is my finger? To domain. Arrow to the left with no limit to negative infinite. Arrow to the right, so positive infinite, so that means all the real numbers. Negative infinite and positive infinite, all the real numbers. Y, in the top. In the top, go to 1, 2, 3, 4, and go down. So all the numbers is smaller or equal 4, and it's because they have the equal here, that means included 4, and that's it. This is the way that we can give interpretation. We can write it down like this, or we can write it down that way, okay?